Welcome to A Matter of Perspective with Judge Derwin Webb. I am Judge Derwin Webb, coming to you from the Fraser History Museum. You know, it's not too often I have a chance to really interview people that I know really, really well, and this person needs no introduction. You know, you've heard of Madonna, you've heard of Prince. This guy can be introduced by just one name, Scooter. Carlton Scooter McCray, welcome to A Matter of Perspective, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Man, I appreciate you coming aboard. I especially appreciate you coming aboard because I know you could have been anywhere with all the stuff that you're doing in the city now. I know that you're a former basketball player for the University of Louisville, and we are coming on the heels of a national championship game. Tell me what made you come to the University of Louisville?
Really, in 1978, U of L's assistant coaches, Wade Houston and Bill Olson, were scouting another guy that played in the area that I played in, and we were playing on that particular day, and they were watching him, and it just so happened that I played well against the guy they were watching, and Coach Houston tells the tale that he told Coach Crum that they were recruiting the wrong guy, and so then they came aboard and started recruiting me. But really, it came after Marquette head coach Al McGuire had retired, because most good New Yorkers went to Marquette. My next door neighbor was Earl Tatum, and he went to Marquette. So I pretty much was going to go to Marquette until Al retired, and then became real good friends with Coach Houston, and came down here on a visit. Wiley Brown was on the visit with me, and met Coach Houston's wife, Alice, and she asked me at the banquet, how long are you going to make my husband chase you around the country? He does have a family. And that struck a chord with me, that this was a sincere lady, and they were real people, and I had played with Jerry Eves in All-Star games, and Wiley and I had a good visit together, and as a matter of fact, he signed after the visit, and they used him as a recruit also, and he was calling me and said, come on, man, we're going to have fun. We can do this. And just everything panned out, and I signed here. That's really how it went down. I was going to Marquette if Al McGuire would have stayed there, but since he retired, I just really opened it back up, and Louisville was the second choice.
Let's just be honest. You were, and you're being very modest, you were the player of the year in New York, correct?
Correct.
So I do want to know, who was the guy that they were trying to recruit?
They were trying to recruit, I think, a guy named Bear Jones had played at Gordon High School, or it was either Yonkers or Gordon, one of them. And he was about 6'9", 6'10", played center. And it was a big rivalry game between us and them, Mount Vernon and them. And we went in and played them real well. We beat them, and like I said, that changed their minds of who they were recruiting, though. But At that time, I'm not sure if I was wearing my glasses or I had my contact lens in. They probably didn't look at me as a real good player, though. But it turned out that they wanted to recruit me, and Coach Houston, he had developed a good rapport with my younger brother Rodney also, and he would whenever he came to town would ask Rodney who else was in there recruiting me. So they had forged a good relationship, and it turned out to be a pretty good decision.
I think so, for the university especially. I know that you are from money-earning Mount Vernon.
Money-earning
Mount Vernon, which is a little bit different from Louisville. Tell me about when you got to Louisville. How was it different from being in New York?
First of all, anything south of Washington, D.C. was considered country to most New Yorkers. And I didn't know if Louisville had concrete sidewalks. I envisioned it being all farmland and dirt roads, because when I went down south with my father, who was originally from North Carolina, they didn't even have pavement. It was a gravel road off the main road, and we walked, and then it was a trailer home. And I couldn't envision myself going to a school that had all dirt roads and farmland and things like that, because that's all I envisioned being down south. So I was pleasantly surprised when I came down here and they had concrete sidewalks. So Mount Vernon, hey, you're talking about 4 square miles, 83,000 people. So we were on top of each other. It sits right on top of the Bronx, from the heart of New York City. It's 14 miles north, and it's heavily populated, real dense. And the competition there, Mount Vernon's basketball had been known for years. I like to pay tribute to all the former Knights that were before me because they set the standards real high. Gus Williams, he's probably the most notable because he was the first one to make it real big in the NBA. But then we had so many Earl Tatum, Ray Williams, Lowe's Moore. I think Mount Vernon has produced as many pros out of one high school in 4 square miles as anyone. That's a public school, not a private school. That's a public school. So it was good competition. I knew that I could make it because it had been done before. Mm-hmm. And so, but even prior to playing basketball, though, I thought I was going to be a musician because I started playing music long before I started playing basketball.
What instrument?
I played the trumpet. I started out with the French horn. I played the trumpet and the French horn and the drums. Mm-hmm. And I was in the marching band, the orchestra. I used to be the first one at school for band practice and the last one to leave for basketball practice. And as a 16, 17-year-old, that didn't work out too well. So I had to give up one, and I gave up being in the band. And I still love music, though. I wish I could play it now, but I should have followed up because it would be something great to do as I'm aging. Mm-hmm. So that's really, what Mount Vernon was all about. I love Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon, to me, as a community, reminds me a lot of Louisville. And really? I say that even though Louisville is bigger, because I look at Louisville as a large town. I don't look at it as a major city. It's a large town where when I first came here, people were talking to me, asking me questions. I thought they were trying to hustle me because in New York, it's such a fast pace, and people really don't care because they got so many things going on. You don't get people to ask you what you're about, what you're doing, who are you. And so when I came here and they found out I was playing basketball, they did. And there was a chance that I probably was going to run into these people again. And in New York, especially in the city, you got 13 plus million people. I could see you today and not ever see you again. And I didn't have that feeling here. So yes, Louisville population was a lot greater, but the feel was more of a town than it was of a city.
Okay. Now tell me about your experiences as a basketball player here.
As a basketball player, I have to really say it was great because it allowed me to go all over the world, allowed me to meet a lot of different people, allowed me to have success beyond what I thought we could have. And it's helped me to grow. Basketball has been real good to me, even though I've had my ups and downs. By the end of my senior year in high school, I was rated the #1 player in America. And I came to Louisville, had a real good freshman year. Tore my knee up my second year after the third game. And my younger brother, Rodney, stepped in. And I tell him all the time, we laugh, that I made the biggest sacrifice anybody can do for their younger sibling so he can get his shine on. So, but he stepped in and filled in admirably. And everyone knows, we won a championship in 1980. He was the only freshman at that time to win a championship. Because they didn't allow freshmen to play earlier. And that championship allowed us to understand what it takes to win. And then we went on to 2 other Final Fours. We believe we could have went 4 for 4 had U.S. Reed not beat us with a 63-footer in 81. And even with me being hurt, I came on and had a decent career here in college and was able to get drafted by Seattle Supersonics, and had the opportunity to play with a lifelong hero, Gus Williams. He was a guard out there, went out there and played 2 years with him. Played under one coach, though, Lenny Wilkins. He went to Cleveland and asked me to come try out for that squad, and I tried out and made it there also, and played 1 year in Europe. So basketball has allowed me to do a lot of things, and then it allowed me to become a coach. I was asked to be on Coach Crum's staff in
Man, you getting
1988.
ahead of me, man. You getting ahead of me.
Oh, okay. This is still involved basketball.
No, go, keep going.
That's
keep
why
going.
I said basketball has been a big part of my life and allowed me to do a whole lot of things. In 1988, they asked me to come on and be an assistant coach. And I spent 10 years as Denny's assistant and learned a lot of things about life and about young men and about commitment that I didn't see as a player. And as you know, I was your coach also when you were here, and I got a chance to see you grow as a 19, 20-year-old into, I'm not going to say how old you are now, into the man that you have become today. And that's rewarding. It's rewarding when you have an opportunity to see young men use a sport to advance their goals, their dreams, and become something. And that to me means more than just winning a ball game. That to me just means this person understands what this life is all about. Take advantage of opportunities that are presented to you and make the best of them.
Man, I tell you this, I got to thank you, because had it not been for you, I remember having a conversation with you, and I basically was going to leave because I wasn't playing a whole lot. And you convinced me to stay. You told me some things I needed to do to stay, to play, but look at the big picture. So talk a little bit about other people that you may have talked to about looking at the big picture outside of basketball.
After I got hurt in 1979, I realized at that time that basketball can be taken away from me at any moment. Started to really gather my thoughts and think about life after basketball, because I was now injured. Met a whole lot of people in the community of Louisville, and just started to figure some things out. I changed my major from communications to business, and it really helped open up my eyes, like I said. And then just the fact that Wade Houston was there telling me that you got to take advantage of opportunities that come your way and be more than just a basketball player. And that really stuck with me, and other people in the community. I mean, I've been knowing the Yarmouth family for a long time, ever since I was a player here, watching them do business and how they treated people. And let me just say this too. As an athlete, and you may have experienced it, I'm pretty sure you have, we get opportunity to break down a lot of different barriers because sports doesn't really see color. And you have fans of all walks of life that like what you do and appreciate what you do, and they treat you a certain way. And I believe as athletes, we should take advantage of that and grow from that. So when you had come to me and talked about maybe you wanted to leave, you had the kind of determination, you had the type of ability that you could see the bigger picture and really feel what it's all about, because basketball, even if you make it to the pros, is still going to last a short period of time. Most times, you're still going to be in your 20s when your career is over, and you have so much life to live beyond 27, 28 years old. And your impact on the communities that you play in can be really helpful for people that take advantage of you. And you always carried yourself in a real good way as a student and as a player, and then as a man. And so it's always good to see people that have character like you make it. And when I say make it, I'm just saying fulfill their dreams. And because we all still growing, and we don't really know what we're going to wind up doing, though. But as a coach, that's what made the difference to me. I didn't care really about the wins and losses like some people. I really cared about the growth of the men that were in the program.
Right. Well, you've been a player, you've been a coach, you have a son that played basketball as well.
Yes.
And we're in 2021. We just went through a pandemic basketball season. You're looking at all the athletes that you see on the stage now. What do you think about the athletes that are in the NCAA now? What do you think about like the transfer portal? What do you think about the state of college basketball right now?
I really have mixed emotions about it, because one, the commitment that it takes to be a solid basketball player right now probably is getting lost, because the athletes have an opportunity to change their mind when anything goes wrong that they don't like. And sometimes, well, most times, things are not going to go your way all the time in life, and you need to be able to find some strength and pull yourself through some of the rougher times that you're going to experience. And right now, um, if these guys don't like the minutes that they're getting, if they don't like the coach, he's yelled at me and anything like that, and I say guys, I mean all these athletes, girls and guys, they can just say, you know what, I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, then what are you going to do in life when sports is over and you run into a rough patch? And how you going to pull yourself out when you gave up here because you didn't like something? And if you continue on that path and develop those habits, you're probably going to give up somewhere else. And then how are you going to really expect your kids to be a little stronger and figure some things out when you as a parent probably didn't do it when you were that age? So I have mixed emotions about everything that's going on in the collegiate life now. But there's some good things I do like, though. I think the opportunity to make money off of their likeness and their names and things like that is really, really good, because the amount of time that these athletes have to commit to any sport that they play in is ridiculous to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really enjoyed being a student athlete. I really enjoyed being around other people that didn't play basketball. It got me a chance to know about different cultures and different people. And now it's so segmented. You have to train year round. You have these athletic dorms where you're around, athletes all the time. And that to me is not a lot of fun. So I have, like I said, I have some good things that I like about what's going on in today's athletic world, and I have some bad things.
Who were some of your role models growing up that helped you have some of the perspectives that you have right now?
The boys club, I like to give a lot of props to coming up through the boys club. I just lost my very first basketball coach, Calvin Jones. He passed 2 weeks ago, and he and his brother, they coached us from 9, 10 years old all the way till the time we got out of high school with what they call now AAU ball, but it was just boys club ball and things like that in the parks. And they kind of set the foundation that I built my basketball career on. And that's at the age we had to take our hats off in buildings. We had to be respectful of each other, just rules and things you learn in the boys club, and just being the best you can be. We used to always have a saying before we even started. Everybody put their hands in, and all you had to do was say, what do you have in the will to win? And that's all. Just do the best you can to try to win. Just have the will to win. And my brother and I has kept that as the mantra of how we look at things. So I start out with those two. And then Gus, like I said, he was the media darling, because he was the first one to really make it big in the NBA. He won an NBA championship. He had 5 brothers, and I used to call them, they were like the stars of Mount Vernon, because all 5 of them could play basketball. Mm-hmm. And to be good, you had to go through all 5 of them. So, they were the first family of basketball to me. And then once I got to college, like I said, so many, Wade Houston, Woody Porter is passed, he was like a big brother to my brother and I. While we were here and in college, and we miss him dearly, but he and his family were great role models, because the Porter name and what they did in this community, how they carried themselves, and expectations that they placed on having an education and being professional. I didn't really have all that growing up, because nobody in my family was like that. So learning these things as a collegiate really helped change my perspective as an adult. And I think you need those type of people if they're willing to give you the advice that we should lean on them. And I took advantage of that.
What made you decide to stop coaching?
I stopped because I knew my attitude had changed. Like I said, I had gotten away from just winning and losing ball games, and really wanted to focus more on developing the men that were playing for us. And I knew with my attitude, because I've had a bad attitude all my life. I was in counseling when I was in middle school, so my mother said I always had a chip on my shoulder. I knew with my attitude that if I didn't have a head coaching job by 40, it was time for me to leave, because I had a hard time going into someone's house and talking to the mother and father about giving their son an education and them not taking advantage of getting an education, them just coming to college to play basketball, thinking they're going to be in the pros. And I would really feel that I let them down, because, like I said, probably less than 1% are going to play professional basketball. And yet they spent 4 or 5 years with me at this school, and they didn't come away with an education. That, to me, is disheartening. That made me say, if I'm not a head coach and I can't do the things I want to do, then it's time for me to leave.
Well, you make a transition from coaching to running a business. Now, you run Lazy Boy.
Yes.
You're the owner of Lazy Boy here in
Yes.
Louisville. Tell me how you have used some of the lessons you've learned as a former player or coach in running your business.
I've used everything I've learned, and I tell most business people that if they can find an athlete that has dedicated themselves to that sport and they've graduated, that they will become a very, very good manager and upper level management or owner, because we already know how to work with the team, create a team atmosphere. You already know how to work with different personalities. We have that on everybody's team. We know how to deal with the highs and lows, because we win some ball games, we lose some ball games, and we know what is expected of us, how to carry ourselves during adversity. And so we've had some. I've been an owner of Lazy Boy now for 27 years. Mm-hmm. In 27 years, I've built 3 stores from the ground up and have closed 3 stores. So I've gone through the highs and lows of opening a business and closing a business, and looking, forecasting, and not seeing the end of the tunnel being very good. So all those things, and then making sure that we're able to keep our doors open so people can earn an honest living and really make a career out of working with us, and not being greedy. I meet a lot of owners that always look at the bottom line, and they don't look at employees that work with them, that help them through the years. And that's always been my thing. If I can create careers for people, then it's my obligation then to keep these doors open so they can make an honest living. And with that comes from the sports that we played. If I was good enough to lead a team and help my members be successful, that's what we did. My brother and I, we didn't average 15, 19 points a game, but we knew we could play, and we knew how to win. And if we helped everybody be the best players that they could be, and we won, then we were successful. Right. And I think the same applies to the business. If all of us, I don't micro manage anything like that. Give the people their job duties and let them do their thing. And like I said, we've been doing it now for 27 years.
What's the best advice you've ever been given, whether it's on the athletic field or the court or in business? What's the best advice you've ever been given?
The best advice that I think that I've ever been given is to treat people the way you want to be treated. And no matter what I've done, I've always tried to put a smile on somebody's face every single day of my life. And that's because I was 6'9" and a black male. And that can be very intimidating to a lot of people. So a lot of times I try to break down that wall with some sort of gesture to put a smile on that person's face. And therefore I try to treat people the way I would like to be treated. And that doesn't always help, but I would say the majority of the time it has worked for me.
I'm going to ask a hypothetical question. Let's say that there's a decision that you have made, that you've lived with, that if you could go back, make a different decision, is there something that you would change about your life?
About my life, probably. I think that I skated on talent for a while, and my attitude growing up was very militant, and I probably would have a better attitude growing up. When I say that is that I didn't get along with my high school coach, and we butted heads all the time, and that was part of, like I said, the chip that my mother said I had on my shoulders. I just had a problem with authority. And if they told me that it could only be done this way, I wouldn't believe it. I was like, you could probably get that done another way. It doesn't have to be this way. And I was defiant. And Probably if I wanted to change something, maybe that, but I'm not sure because I still would like to do things my way. So it's real difficult to say, but I think that might be it, just a change in my attitude at an earlier age than when I did change it later on in life after I got hurt.
Final question. You've lived in Mount Vernon. You told me that you played for Seattle. You played for Cleveland, went overseas. What brought you back to Louisville, and what has kept you here?
Opportunity. The same thing that scared me when I first came here, people very inquisitive, asking who am I, what I'm doing, and things like that. It's the same thing that brought me back. The opportunities here for business and the people here in this community. I knew I wasn't going back to New York. I said, if anything, I'll go back to Louisville and try it there. And it didn't set well with my wife, but that was a decision that I made for the family. And having the opportunity to travel other places, I thought Louisville would be a good home base to raise the kids.
One final question I do have one last thing to ask. What's on the horizon? I know that you have some stores. You've had an athletic career. You're a successful business person. Is there something on the horizon that you want everyone to know about?
I don't know what's on the horizon. I've had my share of health issues, and I thank the Lord each and every day to allow me to still be here. So whatever is on the horizon, I don't know about though. But I like challenges. I think I have an adult ADD, attention deficit disorder, so I can only do projects that last for 3 years. So then you might lose my attention though. But I'm open-minded. I don't know what it will be out there. I just keep my ears open, and I like still helping people. I know I was a last-minute fill-in for you today, though, but you my man. So I like doing that.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
So I like just being with people that have an agenda like yourself. You continue to do things and supporting. I think we need to support each other, and I like supporting people such as yourself in endeavors that they may take. So I really don't know, but I'm blessed to still be here to be able to do it.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. When we're going out on that bike ride again?
I got to put air in my tires. So I love cycling with you. I know you as a person. I know you as a judge, a family man, and everything. And that's one of the things that's a beauty around here is that I get the chance to do other things with you besides business. And that's why I consider Louisville a large town and not a huge city.
Right. Man, I appreciate you coming on the show, especially considering you were my fill-in. I really do appreciate it. Scoot, I met you when I first came to the University of Louisville. It was your first year coaching. Mm-hmm. It was my first year being a student athlete at the collegiate level. And I looked up to you. You were my coach. You were a mentor. And over a period of time, you become my boy. You become my friend. Right. We talk about anything, talk about everything. We ride bikes, talk about a whole bunch of stuff. So, man, I just appreciate you coming on board. I appreciate your friendship. And I just appreciate who you are, man, not only for the community, but but because of who you are, because you actually kept me here. A lot of people don't know that, but you actually kept me here from wanting to go someplace else because you put things in perspective for me, and I appreciate you for that, man.
Well, thank you.
As I like to close the show, I always like to say my last little phrase. It's not a matter of what you say. It's not a matter of what I think. At the end of the day, it's all a matter of perspective. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.